I have been financially not doing great.
I'm being sued by a credit card company for $5,000 for not paying the bill.
I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt.
Everything but our mortgage. Student loans, car payments, credit cards, home equity. So I have calculated all of our debt because that's something that I want to tackle and get it down as low as possible. I didn't realize how far in debt we were. I don't even want to say this number. We are, not including our mortgage, everything but our mortgage. Student loans, car payments, credit cards, home equity, $178,745. Why did we do that? Minimum payments calculated together are $3,562.72. The things that we could be doing with that $3,500. So come with me to figure out how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna be selling things. I'm gonna be trying TikTok shop. I'm gonna continue to update, but I'm posting this because I want to be accountable. I want to share what works for me. This is just the beginning, but whew.
Wow, $3,000 a month minimum payment is actually insane. Oh my gosh, that's a mortgage. How do you stay afloat? And this is not even including their mortgage. You gotta do what you gotta do to stay afloat. Any side hustles you can think of, honestly, just like liquidate all the stuff in your house and pay off that debt because that's massive. Someone wrote, Dave Ramsey, get rid of those car payments first. Dave Ramsey do be saying that. Someone else wrote, hope this makes you feel better. We were at 220K, down to 23K. You can do this. Caleb Haber is a new date, but 1000% better on YouTube. Been watching for a long time. I mean, yeah, I've been watching him since he started his YouTube career. At the time, he had about 10,000 subscribers. And I really enjoyed his content. And he made, honestly, in a short period of time, like, he's grown so much. But lately, I haven't been really enjoying his videos because the guests he brings on are unique. It's just, I can't finish an episode without just raging inside because the guests and Caleb are insulting each other and it's just become kind of weird and a little too toxic in my opinion. Someone else wrote, talk to your bank. They might be able to help with payment plans and things, getting your minimums down. I believe in you. I mean, that's good advice. I don't know. I haven't been in a situation like this, so I'm sure it doesn't hurt to ask the banks what they can do. I mean, because the banks want their money, and so I think it's way beneficial for the banks to have a payment plan than go through litigation and serving her and going through the court process to get their money back and, you know, pay lawyer fees and whatnot. Someone wrote, that's brutal. And yes, that is brutal, but it's better late than never. And, you know, at least she realized the gravity of her situation.
I am 22 years old and I am in $91,300 worth of debt and I am filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy today. I've had such a bad financial burden the last couple years, so after meeting with an attorney and doing lots of research, I realized that filing bankruptcy really isn't as bad as it's made out to be, and it was truly going to be my best bet. I decided to file Chapter 7, and, you know, truthfully, my consumer debt really is not that bad. A lot of people have it a lot worse financially, but for me, $91,000 was just too much. It was uncomfortable, and I just wanted to get a fresh start. I moved to Texas directly after high school, and I made a lot of very irresponsible decisions financially and really dug myself into a big hole of debt. I decided, let's go ahead and file bankruptcy. Let's give myself a clean slate. That way I can stop stressing and I can actually do better. Okay, just to give you a little breakdown of the debt that I do have that totals up to the $91,300. I owe about $51,000 on the vehicle that I have. We did try selling that, trading it in, all that good stuff, but I have way too much negative equity to come out on top. I bought a motorcycle back in 2022. Thought that was a great idea. I owe $5,000 still on that. Same thing. Tried selling it, not able to get what we owe out of it. I do own a camper, and I owe about $13,400 on that. However, I live out of that camper because I can't afford a house. So I am keeping that since I do live in it. I have $2,200 worth of medical bills that I had no idea were in collections. And then I have $12,000 worth of student loans. However, those do not get forgiven with bankruptcy, so I will still continue that payment. And then I have about $7,700 worth of credit card debt, all coming into a grand total of $91,300. So after meeting with an attorney, she decided filing Chapter 7 is going to be my best bet. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Since I was referred to her from somebody that is currently filing bankruptcy with her, she did cut me a discount. So my bankruptcy is only going to cost me about $1,100. So I've already paid all of those fees to her. I did a free consultation with her, and then after I decided to go ahead and file, I paid a deposit and I received a workbook. I went ahead and filled that workbook out and everything, and it just pretty much, it needed all my information, my income, all my belongings and stuff like that I have. And then I listed all of my creditors as well. So thankfully you are able to actually pick and choose what you do file on whenever it comes to bankruptcy. I did decide to surrender the truck, and then I am surrendering the motorcycle as well. I am keeping my camper, and I will have to keep my student loans, but otherwise everything's gonna be wiped clean. So we're gonna go ahead and go in, we're gonna sign a little bit of paperwork, get everything finalized so she can actually file that. So let's go.
So the first document is called your petition, and it just has identifying stuff on it. What's your middle name?
Anne.
With an E or without an E?
Without.
Do you currently own your own business?
No.
2012 Volkswagen Passat.
Mhm.
You don't owe any money on that guy?
No.
Is your name the only name on the title?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure that I've spelled all your names correctly and that your social security number is correct. And if all that's okay, go ahead and sign that one. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Be careful going home. You're welcome. Thanks for working with us on
Yeah, of
times
course.
and dates and all that.
Okay, we just signed paperwork and everything. Everything is pretty much finalized now. Did all the hard stuff. So she said I'll get a letter in the mail scheduling my 314 meeting, which will happen in the middle of December. And that's pretty much just a meeting with all my creditors. And it's just a Zoom call. And she said 99% of the time, none of them show up, which then means that everything goes out the window. So fingers crossed none of them show up whenever we have that meeting in the middle of December. And then after that, everything will be finalized and I will be so much closer to being debt-free, and finally we'll have a weight lifted off my shoulders because I am tired of carrying this financial burden. Obviously it sucks that I'm doing this at 22 years old, but I think that this has been such a learning curve for me, and I will never put myself in this position again. And honestly, it's been just such a good life lesson. So let this be your sign. If you are really struggling financially, you have a lot of debt that you just honestly cannot get taken care of, go meet with an attorney. Discuss bankruptcy. It is truly not as bad as it is made out to be. I feel so much relief. I'm one step closer to being a little more financially free. Just excited to walk into 2026 on a clean slate and be able to do better. But yeah, let this be your sign too.
I wonder if she gets paid for this. And how does she know that the bankruptcy process is easy peasy, lemon squeezy? She's not even done with the process. Yeah, I don't know about the whole bankruptcy process being easy. Leave a comment below. Do creditors actually not show up 99% of the time? I feel like they want their money. Leave a comment below. I would love to know. Someone wrote, you couldn't waterboard this information out of me. Either she's getting paid commission for this, or honestly, like, people post these type of contents online in hopes that they go viral so they can get money out of this. $51,000 on a vehicle at 22 is insane. Those are luxuries we save for when we can afford them, not if they make us go into hella debt. Shame on the dealer. Shame, shame, shame. I racked up all this debt with my irresponsible decisions, and instead of paying off bit by bit like a responsible adult would, I'm just going to declare bankruptcy and all my problems will be magically washed away. This reminds me of that one episode in The Office where Michael screams, I declare bankruptcy! I don't know if you watched The Office. Comment below if you have. Yeah, half your debt being your car is crazy. It really is crazy. Americans have this obsession with cars. I don't know why. The thing you have to watch out is even if you declare bankruptcy and your debt is wiped clean, if you don't fix your behavior and have financial discipline and change your spending habits, you're gonna end up in the same spot that got you in this situation. Just because you're declaring bankruptcy, you're not declaring bankruptcy on your spending habits and your financial discipline. It doesn't reset that. You're the same person, so you have to actively work hard to be better each day.
So, my husband and I are $60,000 in debt. Okay. Part of the problem, you are. Let me explain how we got here. So in June of 2022, we had a good amount of savings and decided that our home that we've been living in for a couple years just needed some maintenance and some upgrades. You can see behind me, we live in like a very normal house, but there were some things like on the outside where our stucco was falling off, so we needed to have that repaired. We had our house painted, we upgraded our bathroom a little bit, and also decided to pay off my husband's private student loan because the interest is not great. And so we had plenty of savings and we decided to just drain those bad boys. We both had really stable jobs. We would be able to squirrel away some money over time and build back up our savings again. 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, I was laid off from my job. And I'm the breadwinner of our household, so it did not go well. I was unemployed for about 7 months. Thank goodness I had social media to keep us afloat for a little bit, but here's the deal. We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card. And that allowed my husband's income to pay for our mortgage, our car payments, our daycare, things like that. But everything else went on a credit card. We cut back as much as we could, but there's still a lot of expenses. We finally decided to do a debt consolidation loan, and it's about $65,000. And we're gonna try and pay it off. We did a 5-year loan plan, but we're gonna try and pay it off in the next 2 years if I can finally get that OnlyFans account going. I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna do OnlyFans, but that's our goal. If our kids gets out of daycare this year, we've spent $36,000 a year on daycare, so one of them graduates this year, the other one goes to VPK, so that'll save us a little bit of money. Our hopes are that we're able to put a lot of what we were already paying for daycare towards this loan and get it paid off sooner than planned. But your girl loves to shop, so I'm gonna have to do some shit to keep myself accountable to this. So I'm coming on the internet and telling you what my deepest, darkest secret.
So her husband is paying for all the necessities, right? With his paycheck. So like utilities, mortgage, car payments. She's 7 months unemployed, and all the other expenses that were required, she used a credit card, and they racked up $65,000 of debt. It doesn't make sense to me. What could possibly be in the $65,000 unless she's saying daycare is part of that debt? Can she maybe, for the time being, ask her parents, his parents, grandparents? Or if she's staying at home, maybe she can take care of the kids. I don't know. This is controversial. Someone wrote, in 7 months, you acquired $65,000 in debt. If so, that's impressive. It's not a competition, but there's people out there that have done the worst. I feel like everyone is drowning in debt these days. And I do agree. Now, part of it is probably because the algorithm is pushing these type of content because a lot of people are interested and entertained. But also, I think is due to just the proliferation of social media, because there's things like TikTok shops, and all these hauls that influences you to buy these things you don't need. And, after COVID, there was like this rise of luxury travel, luxury goods. I think one thing that a lot of people have kind of felt the same way is that, it's really difficult to afford a home. Like houses in LA, minimum $1 million, and that will give you a tiny, tiny shed. And so the rationale is, okay, well, I can never buy a house anyway, might as well just treat myself in nice things because I can never afford a house anyway. So why should I save up when I can just buy a nice Mercedes Benz? I can buy a Louis Vuitton bag, right?
I owe $30,000 worth of credit card debt at 24 years old. This is my credit card debt breakdown. I currently have 5 different credit card accounts that I need to pay off. The first one, which is the least amount of debt that I owe, would be my Freedom Unlimited card, in which I owe $1,649.99. My Capital One card, I owe $4,388.83. On my Best Buy account, I owe $6,210. On my Chase credit card, I owe $6,856. Last but not least, Discover. This is the one that I owe the most on, and it is $10,952. That brings me to a total of $30,057.68. I've looked into filing for bankruptcy, but I don't think that that's the best route for me at this time. I think that I won't qualify for Chapter 7, and I also don't think that Chapter 13 would be the best option either. There's no other option for me other than just finding other ways to make money and paying this off as soon as possible. I'm turning 25 soon, and my goal is to become debt-free and just be more smart with my money. Honestly, just never get myself back into this position.
First of all, how did she have 5 credit cards already? I think it tells you something that maybe after the first one, you racked up debt. Maybe you're not a credit card person. With the Discover credit card being the largest balance, my guess is that as soon as you turn 18, Discover be sending you all those mails to apply for a credit card, because I think they're the easiest to get approved for. And so she got excited, she didn't know much about credit cards, she didn't educate herself. She just started spending because, using credit cards, it's painless. It's so easy. And you feel like an adult girl. And so that's my guess. I think that's how she first racked up her credit. And it just became like, you get so used to spending that much money. And so it just started to accumulate. Someone wrote, I guess my $12,000 credit card debt isn't so bad. No, it's still bad.
I recently posted about the fact I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, and I want to talk about it. Up until 24 hours ago, I did not know that was actually the total of all of my debt, credit cards, and student loans. That number also does not include my auto loan, and if we are adding in my auto loan, the total number is $110,938.83. Since totaling up all of my debt, I don't think I've actually gotten one good breath of oxygen in the last 24 hours. I feel like there is an elephant sitting on my chest, and I don't think I can sit still because all I keep repeating is $95,487.73. All of this debt was racked up through decisions I made between the ages of 18 and 26. My first associate's degree I got from a community college and I didn't have to pay for because of the Pell Grant, but I decided to go to a university and got my bachelor's degree, which is where I really started to rack up the debt. Then in the last 2 years, I decided to finish a nursing degree at a community college in the last 2 years, but that's where I started to rack up even more debt. What really sucks is realizing that the majority of these student loans is not from tuition. It's actually from living expenses and living way above my means. My debt comprises of 2 credit cards, 5 federal student loans, and 5 private Sallie Mae loans. I can handle the federal student loans, but when I tell you Sallie Mae is bending me over and not in a way I like, it's actually insane. Sallie Mae is genuinely evil and they prey on young students. And the reason why they take advantage of young students is because they know if you're reaching out to a private loan like that, you genuinely need it. Out of the 5 Sallie Mae loans I have, one of the interest rates that is the highest is 16.28%. The lowest interest rate I have with Sallie Mae is 9.88%. Now, my federal student loans are between 4 and 6%, which I think is manageable. Although I had parents who would tell me what I should or shouldn't do, I never had anybody really sit me down and fully teach me financial literacy. I never had anybody sit me down and really explain to me the scope of what I was doing and what it would look like in the future when I had to pay for it. In the moment, all of the student loans just felt like fake money because they just kept coming and I just kept spending. I don't regret any of the experiences I've had between the ages of 18 and 26 or any of the things that I've done, but I do wish that I managed my finances way better than this. I think what's even more sad is a lot of these student loans were going to rent, which my rent was around $1,200 a month, and that's been consistent over the last 2-3 years. Thankfully, I do have a finance bro as a boyfriend, and he is really great at managing money and managing wealth, and so I am working with him to do a snowball effect. If I snowball all of my loans at the current rates that they are without consolidating them, I can pay all of this off by 2032. It's really sad because I'm excited about starting my first nursing job next month, but at the same time, I know that all of the money I'm making is going to debt. I'm turning 27 this year, and I wish I could be thinking about starting a family or getting married or buying a house, but really, I can't think about anything but paying off this debt. The last thing I would want to do is bring a child into this world while I have debt hanging over my head. So it almost feels like my life is kind of on hold right now, but I feel like it's even more motivation to just pay this off as quickly as possible. It is what it is. What's done is done. And at the end of the day, if you are in your early 20s and you're thinking about taking out student loans, I urge you to reconsider and ask yourself whether or not you really truly need it. If I knew then what I know now, I would tell myself that no experience, no desire, no want is worth the stress that I feel now.
College is very expensive. So when I applied for colleges, I exclusively chose colleges that are within commuting distance because I did not want to pay rent. It was tough because I lost sleep and I don't have experience at a dorm. I don't regret my choice because I'm way better off not being in debt. Plus, I would have to work more hours part-time to pay for room and board, and I don't think it's worth the extra labor hours. This comment reads, financial literacy should be a compulsory class at school, and I agree, but unfortunately they don't teach it. This person wrote, I no longer feel bad for being 6K in debt. Yeah, but debt is debt. Please pay it off. Someone wrote, allowing 18-year-olds to take out $100,000 in loans and debt is criminal. Yeah, these companies know what they're doing. They know that 18-year-olds are not going to think about their finances, their personal finances. They're going to take whatever deal they can get. Money is money. They spend it as soon as it comes into their checking accounts. Another person wrote, anytime I hear the name Sallie Mae, I quiver. I'm so sorry. You're so good. I promise you. So yeah, that's it for today. Please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. What would you do in a situation where you have a lot of debt? Would you declare bankruptcy? What's your action plan? Please leave a like and subscribe. And until then, see you next time. Bye.